The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the Arise to Success show, where we aim to highlight inspiring individuals and their journeys to success. I'm your host on this show. My name is Jihad. Throughout the show, dear listeners, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to send them on 07779 481822. So our guest today is Aisha Naeem, who is a passionate mum of two and a physiotherapist by profession. She runs an MSK and Women's Health Pelvic Floor Clinic in Luton. Aisha has 8 years of experience in her field as an MSK physiotherapist. 5 of them were in Dubai. Aisha became interested in women's health pelvic floor physiotherapy rehab after she became a mom herself. It was still an unexplored area for her to be in, but she still dived in, and now it has become her passion to help moms so they can no longer suffer in silence. Aisha, thank you so much for being with us today, and welcome to the Arise to Success show. How are you doing today, Aisha?
Wa alaikum assalam, alhamdulillah. I'm fine. I hope you're fine too. Thank you so much for inviting me to your show. And it's Aisha Naeem Rahman, just a correction, sorry.
Sorry, Aisha Naeem Rahman, yeah?
Naeem Rahman.
Oh, Naeem. Apologies. Naeem Rahman. I'm going to just correct it here so I don't make the same mistake again. So apologies for that. Thank you for the correction. And Jazakallah khair again for being with us and accepting the invite. So, Aisha, if we start with, if you can tell us more about you and your journey into physiotherapy.
That's a very interesting question, actually. To start with, I would say physiotherapy chose me rather than me choosing the profession.
Interesting.
And you would ask, how so? So basically, I had never ever dreamed of becoming a physio. I actually wanted to become a cardiothoracic surgeon. So, but there were many, at that time, there were many new fields coming up in the healthcare industry. And so I did hear physiotherapy first in my AS levels. And then I looked into it, and my mom was also interested. So we researched, and then there was this university that was offering this course, and it was in Ajman, United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
So I went there with my documents. My mom was there with me. She's always been my, very good moral supporter. So I went there with my documents, with all the papers, and I just submitted. And I didn't ever expected that it would be accepted so soon. And I had an interview the same day.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I was enrolled. And voila, you see, I'm here 10 years later.
MashaAllah, sometimes, when things happen like this, it's the will of Allah, isn't it? MashaAllah.
That is true. It was meant for me.
Yeah.
I mean, even after, after researching, you still have to do what you're supposed to do, being a Muslim, like, doing istikhara, doing dua, because no one knows what future holds. So, yeah.
Absolutely. MashaAllah, great. So the profession chose you didn't choose it. And then what happened after that? When you started practicing, I believe you started practicing in Dubai, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So what happened? So my practices were fine. I mean, it was pretty good. But the only thing is that when you're practicing your profession, and especially when you are an employee, you have to make an effort in, upgrading your skills, upgrading your the latest skills in the market. You have to get those certifications, attend those workshops. Otherwise, you'll feel very stagnant in your profession.
Yes.
So you have to make that effort to grow. And here I would really want to, thank my university for giving or equip me, giving me the best of the skills that I required in my profession. I still remember, and it still rings in my ears when I was doing my giving my final professional exams. My neuro teacher, the one that taught us neuro physiotherapy, she wrote that you are going to be a star physio one day. At that time, it never clicked to me that, maybe she's just saying out of courtesy or whatever, but probably she did see something in me, I guess. So, but physio as a profession is pretty decent over there in Dubai. But the only thing is, as I mentioned, you have to, make an effort to grow in your profession.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you made a really good point there where you said, when the teacher made that comment, subhanAllah, sometimes it's such a small thing that can make a huge difference to someone's life. And that's the power of, saying good things. And if you don't have something good or something negative to say, better to keep it to yourself.
That is so true, so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
A lot of people suffer because of that, and it could be something, for example, as children, something that is said to them that can either encourage them or really discourage them, and that can affect their entire life. So that was very powerful what you said there. Jazakallah khair for sharing. Now, in terms of being an MSK physiotherapist, could you tell us what that is? And I cannot pronounce the actual word, so I'll leave you to pronounce it. It's a long word. I just shortened it to the MSK. So what is it, and what is it needed for?
So MSK is basically the short form for musculoskeletal physiotherapy. Yeah. So in general, like if I were to tell you, okay, Jihad, I am a physiotherapist. So what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Something that's related to muscles, bones, right?
Yeah, forms of exercise for the body, and exactly. Injury. Like what I came to you for was an injury that I had, and I was getting specific exercises for it.
Yes. So physiotherapy by default, if somebody were to say that I'm a physiotherapist, though by default it comes into the mind, okay, it must be related to that, yeah. But if somebody says specifically that I'm an MSK physiotherapist, so broadly they mean either of the two things mainly. One is that they are only treating MSK conditions, or they have done specialization in MSK field. Okay. Because physiotherapy in itself, it has many fields. Like I don't know if it's if people know about it, but physiotherapy has many fields. Like it has for specialization. So it has musculoskeletal, it has neuro that deals with, conditions like Parkinson's, stroke, multiple sclerosis, all this. Then we have peds physiotherapy, pediatrics. They treat conditions like for example, conditions in a special needs children, like cerebral palsy, or the likes of it. Then there's a field called women's health physiotherapy. Now that's another very broad area where there are multiple other specializations that can be done. So for MSK physiotherapy, if I say that I'm a MSK physiotherapy, so what I mean is I treat conditions that are related to muscle, bones, and joints and nerves. Maybe, yeah. So why I said maybe over there, because now it's overlapping, because mainly nerve conditions are treated by the neurophysiotherapists also, as well as it can be treated by the MSK physiotherapists as well.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so you specialize in all of them, right?
No. I am, as you can say, I'm a general physiotherapist, but I treat two of the areas. One is musculoskeletal conditions and women's health postnatal conditions.
Okay. Interesting. So I'm just writing that down. Okay, and I'm just wondering, what's the demand on those services that you're offering? Do you find that there is demand based on, like, for example, I was coming because of an injury. Is there demand because of certain things that is going on in around with others, or how is the demand? And is it specifically for women, or are you doing it for both men and women?
Demand, no, I deal both with the both genders, male and female, and a variety of age groups come and get themselves treated, and it's mostly musculoskeletal problems that they come. There is now, awareness amongst the mummies to, get sought help with problems that they are facing, especially after giving birth. But not as much, the demand is not as much as musculoskeletal,
Right.
I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Right. And in terms of women specifically, your service is for both men and women, right? But in terms of women specifically, what else do you help them with apart from, the those specific services? Are there anything else that is part of the help that you provide to women, or is it just mainly regarding those areas?
No. So the MSK physiotherapy, which is musculoskeletal physiotherapy, is for both male and female. So if a female were to come with, let's say, a knee pain, obviously I would be treating her with a knee pain.
Yeah.
But then there's a specific conditions of women that can be only treated by, what do you call it? I mean, broadly a female physiotherapist, right?
Yeah.
So specific conditions that are related after giving birth. So that was incontinence. Many of our sisters, have this problem of, not able to, hold themselves after, laughing or sneezing. And this is very embarrassing for them, obviously. I mean, it's very understandable. So this is where, physiotherapy can come and help in treating it.
Oh, interesting. Yes. How did I know that?
So we do a very detailed assessment from head to toe, assessing all the functions of mama and checking her core muscles, her pelvic floor muscle strength, and then accordingly, what I could share it with the mama and explain to her what is going on, and then share the treatment details with her, and then we start with our treatment. So in that, what would include that if there is any musculoskeletal problem first, that is treated first. And then after that, we concentrate more on the pelvic floor muscle exercises. Now, here I would like to point out that most of the time, the pelvic floor exercises, or Kegels as we call it, is not done properly. Is actually done in a wrong way, which can actually make the problems worse. So it's very important that you get a guidance of a professional to guide you properly in doing the pelvic floor exercises. And the beauty of doing the pelvic floor exercises is when you do them, you will do them correctly, you will find difference fairly quickly.
Interesting. So, for example, if somebody goes online and finds specific exercises, you wouldn't recommend for them to do it by themselves unless they have that guidance from a professional, right?
Yes, this is what I would say. I mean, they do explain, okay-ish, they do explain fairly good, maybe. I have not seen any of the videos, but they might be good in what they're explaining. But then when it comes to practicality, you need that guidance. You need someone to see you and correct you where you're going wrong.
Yeah. That actually reminds me, remember when I came for a few sessions and he gave me some exercise and I've sent you a video where I was like, am I doing it right? You're like, nope, don't do it like that. So that actually reminds me because that can actually make the problem worse if we're doing the exercise wrong,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's quite important for that. Okay, so here we're sending a recommendation out there to the listeners here is that if there is specific problems that you have with muscles, bones, joints, nerves, firstly is to check it with the GP, right? Not to leave it because,
Yeah.
because what I've noticed with a lot of people is that they leave it, and it starts to get worse. So to check with the GP, if the GP recommends, for example, physio, and I know with this physios, there's a long waiting list, and that's why I came to yourself, Aisha. And then to make sure that whatever exercises the physio sets for them is to actually check that they are doing it correctly so that it doesn't make the problem worse, right?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, excellent. Alhamdulillah. So in terms of the physiotherapy, because I'm wondering here, because you said that you practiced in Dubai and then you practiced here in the UK as well. Is it quite similar between the two countries? Is all physiotherapy same worldwide? Does it differ from country to country depending on, for example, what the majority of the people experience as problems with their bodies in that country? How does it work? Actually, sorry, before we ask that question, let me just remind our dear listeners, just in case anybody joined us a bit later, is that we have Aisha on the show with us today, who is a passionate mom of two and a physiotherapist by profession. She runs an MSK and women's health pelvic floor clinic in Luton. Aisha has 8 years of experience in her field as an MSK physiotherapist, in which 5 of them were in Dubai. So dear listeners, if you have any specific questions for Aisha, I know this topic is quite an interesting one, and a lot of us do suffer from body aches, body issues, injuries, and so on. So this is a good chance for you to ask Aisha, and you can send those those questions on 0779 481822. Feel free to send your comments as well. Aisha, sorry, back to yourself. So yes, in terms of does physiotherapy differ from one place to another? Tell me a bit more about that.
Definitely, there is a difference from what I've seen and what I've experienced. So I've worked in private setting in Dubai for 5 years, and what I've seen what I've experienced is there is an over reliance on the machines and exercises like okay, if they have time, then they'll be able to do it, but otherwise no, it's the machine. And here I can't say certainly. The reason is because I've not worked in any of the private or government sector, but from what I've heard is there's always massages, right? So there's an over reliance of hand skills here. Right. So for me, I personally believe that it's supposed to be a balance between the two.
Yeah.
And rather than over relying on something, and then always obviously make it according to the patient's conditions needs, and don't just follow, as we say, follow the book, because practical is different than theoretical. And then in terms of conditions, so here there's more of mechanical issues. Sounds very garage type, but many mechanical issues that I've seen here, and very chronic issues that I've seen here and treated. Back in Dubai, it's more of, what we say, disc-related issues or lifestyle-related issues, basically.
Right.
So this is the main difference that I found in patients between here and there.
That's quite interesting. So say, for example, somebody, because I hear that quite a lot in the Arab world, for instance, when somebody is, have a severe injury, severe illness or something, they tend to go abroad, like come to Europe, for example, for treatments. So I'm just thinking here, how does it work in that sense if they focus on certain things in one country, they focus on other things in a different country? Is it recommended for somebody to go out of the country when they have something chronic or something that is not so common in the country? Tell me a bit more about that, because I always hear that where, somebody's really unwell, or like my previous students in the Middle East, their grandparents unwell, they bring them to Europe to get treated. How does it work? Is it better to stay and get treated in the same country, or to go out of the country, since you have experience in both countries?
That really depends, actually. If, let's suppose, if somebody has a chronic condition, and if the facilities over there are not sufficient enough to treat that condition, then probably it'll be the best idea to move to another country for your health's sake, and to get yourself treated. I mean, this is what I can say, because my main work was mostly in the OPD area, which is the outpatient department. So this is what you've asked is actually related to inpatients, where people are hospitalized. And this one, the OPDs are basically they come, get themselves treated, and go. So that's why I don't have much experience in that particular area, so can't say much about it. But that's what makes sense, If it's not available, then go to other places.
Yeah, because I found it quite interesting, because once I had a surgery when I was living abroad, and the hospital services was amazing. I felt like I was in a hotel. I was like, why do people leave the country to come to the UK, for example, and get treatment when they can get like an amazing service there?
That is true. The healthcare service is actually very commendable over there, back in the Middle East, and very competitive, very state-of-the-art equipment you'll find. In every hospital.
Yeah.
Be it government hospitals are on the lead, and then there comes private hospitals and private medical centers.
Yes.
It's very good. Yeah.
Yes. That's why I find it quite surprising when people say, getting out of the country for treatment. It's like, you get really amazing service where you live. Okay, quite interesting. So we've got a few minutes before the break. So I'm just going to remind our dear listeners just again quickly that we have Aisha with us on the show today, who's a passionate mom of two and a physiotherapist by profession. She runs an MSK and Women's Health Pelvic Floor Clinic in Luton, and she has 8 experience in the field as an MSK physiotherapist, in which 5 of them were in Dubai. Dear listeners, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to send them on 07779 481822. Actually, a quick question before we go for the break in terms of, and I tend to ask mums that question quite a lot in terms of, how do you balance work life with family life? Yeah.
Well, the simple answer is that literally, if I didn't had my husband's support in this, then it would have been really chaotic. So that, partnership is needed, and that cooperation is needed in balancing both work life and home life. Absolutely. Because both of them are demanding.
Yes, absolutely. What I found quite interesting as well, and a lot of, when I ask this question to a lot of mums, they say there's no such a thing as balance. It's about juggling, kind of like trying to work on and manage the two lifestyles, but it's not a balance. And I was like, okay, that's quite interesting. And you made a really good point there in terms of that support system from the family, from the spouse, from families where it's a teamwork. And even for children, they learn that unity and that support in terms of supporting one another. That's true. It is a juggle. I mean, you have to literally be ready for any ball to come now, Yeah. So it is like that. Say that again, sorry? So it is actually a juggle. You have to be ready every time with your reflexes, any ball to come and hit you on the head.
So yes.
So always to be prepared, mashallah. But
Yes.
it's rewarding, mashallah, as well at the same
It
time.
is.
Because
Alhamdulillah.
I remember all the kind of things that you used to tell me about your children, and mashallah, how one of them used to try and do public speaking, right?
Yes.
Your 8-year-old? Is he an
mashallah.
8-year-old?
Yeah,
Yeah.
mashallah. He's got a voice and he's got that courage. So obviously, why not go into public speaking? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the little one, she's just a madam. What can I say?
And I love how supportive you are as well in terms of what they like and what they do. But we'll talk a little bit more about it, inshallah, after the break, because we've got a few seconds, inshallah, to go for the break. So, dear listeners, this is Inspire FM Luton on 105.1. Inshallah, we'll be going for a very short break. So, please do stay tuned. And just to remind you, just in case, for you to prepare questions or any comments during the break, is that we have Aisha on the show with us today, who's a passionate mom of 2 and a physiotherapist by profession. She runs an MSK and women's pelvic floor clinic in Luton. She has 8 years experience in the field as an MSK physiotherapist, in which 5 of them were in Dubai. So inshallah, dear listeners, stay tuned. We'll be going for a very short break, and inshallah we'll come back. See you shortly.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Atif Nawaz. Listen to Inspire FM shows in your time by heading over to inspirefm.org or listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to the Rise to Success show. Just a reminder, we have Aisha Naeem Rahman with us today, who's a passionate mom of 2 and a physiotherapist by profession. She runs an MSK and women's health pelvic floor clinic in Luton. Aisha has 8 years of experience in her field as an MSK physiotherapist, in which 5 of them were in Dubai. Aisha became interested in women's health pelvic floor physiotherapy rehab after she became a mom herself. It was still an unexplored area for her to be in, but she still dived in, and now it has become her passion to help moms so they can no longer suffer in silence. Dear listeners, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to send them at 0779 481822. So Aisha, just reading a little bit more about you in your bio, where it said that you're interested in women's health pelvic floor physiotherapy rehab. What is pelvic floor physiotherapy rehab? Is it the same as all that we've been talking about in terms of physiotherapy, or is it something different?
It is what we've talked about, but it is more than that. Because so I've what I can say is, because it's a very unexplored area, as in it requires more exploration, more research, more intensive research. Like there are researchers in the MSK field. I hope, and I really want a lot of researchers to come up in this area as well. So pelvic floor rehab, basically what it means in simple terms is bringing back the pelvic floor to its original function, what it's supposed to do, as well as reduce the symptoms that mom might be having.
Right. Okay. And is that in general, or after giving birth, or after having children, for instance, or at what stage would that be needed?
This is a very interesting question. Actually, it's very difficult to say. The reason why I'm saying this is because women of all ages, be her being married, her being mom or not, do sometimes experience certain symptoms that are not pertaining to, especially specifically after birth. So the reason why I've mentioned after birth is because many of the symptoms are very apparent after the birth, because now how the birthing goes, how the whole journey is, that really decides the health of the pelvic floor. So if some woman had a traumatic birth experience, or a very long labor, or any of these situations, they would be, they might be suffering from some sort of pelvic floor issues. So this is what, specifically what I mean by postnatal pelvic floor rehab.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Would you recommend it for all women after giving birth, or just, for example, if it was a traumatic one, if it was a difficult one?
No. Well, generally, all women after birth ideally should get themselves assessed. It's the same as, when you go for a very long drive, and then when you come back, ideally you're supposed to check if your car is working properly or not.
Yeah.
Get the oil changed, get the air in the tire and everything. So it's the same thing. So it's a whole journey. Pregnancy is a whole journey.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a whole journey. So from the time of conception till the time of delivery, it all adds up. So it's best. Ideally, it's very good to get yourself checked up to see if everything is working as it's supposed to be.
And is that something that GPs tend to kind of follow up with mums to do, or is something that mums have to kind of go out of the way to make sure that they actually check it?
I think is mom that have to make an effort, because what I remember I can give you the example of myself when I gave birth to my daughter, and after they have that 6 weeks postnatal checkup, right?
Yeah.
So basically it was a checkup of the baby, not more of a mom, right? So, and I'm guessing this might be the case with most of the moms. So mother themselves have to make an effort to see and get themselves assessed, to see everything is working properly before, any problem comes up, and then, it becomes a bigger issue.
Yeah. So it's a recommendation here for all moms to kind of keep an eye on their health, to check it, to make sure. Yeah. So it's not to scare anybody, but just to make sure that everything is fine, so that if there is something, can get treated earlier on rather than it's being left until it becomes a bigger problem.
Yes.
So that's great. Now, in terms of yourself, you became more interested in this area after you become a mom. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Why? Because when I became a mom myself, right? Obviously, as a professional, you do tend to, think more deeply into your muscular structure and all that kind of thing. That really, intrigued me, to, go ahead and do some certifications, some workshops into, getting this skill.
Yes.
So I did my first of my certification. It was actually a very good workshop organized by physio seminar in Dubai. The professor came all the way from Australia, Curtin University. Yeah, she really, showed us how to assess, specifically in terms of urinary incontinences, and how to avoid chronic UTIs that women get, especially at a later stage. So that was done. After that, it became sort of, dusted, because I didn't get to practice it. Then when I came here, I did another certification of mummy MOT assessment. That gave really an enlightenment on how to do practically. And after doing that, I literally, there was that burning passion inside me, to, help our moms as much as possible, especially in our community where it's hushed upon, because obviously it's embarrassing. There's probably no awareness if there's any help out there or not. In the beginning, I did try to spread the awareness, and alhamdulillah, I mean, after that, I did not, I was busy in the clinic and, with my patients, so I did not then paid much attention to spreading the awareness. But alhamdulillah, as the years are passing by, I'm seeing an increase in women's health, patients, moms coming themselves, they're concerned for themselves. And, and it is my duty as a professional to, first make them relaxed, make them, feel comfortable, and then, go through the assessment with them, answer all their concerns, all their, worries. Literally, I've had some patients come and they've been holding that so much of concern for so many years that they come here and they start crying, Wow. So, yes. So, yeah. So to all moms out there, you really hold a special place in my heart. Oh. So yes. So this is what is done, and this is what
So moms who are listening to us now, and if they haven't done that before, what's the first step? Do they go to a physio straight away? Do they consult with their GP first? What are the steps?
So if they are, they are having some problems, they can either discuss this with the GP, or they can give a call to any physiotherapist. Let's just assuming, okay, just that if they give a call to us, So I do take a time to explain to them to if they need some sort of a guidance, or if we are able to help, then obviously I tell them, we are able to help in this, so this is what they can do. So two ways they can go for, either discuss with the GP, or they can just give us a call and discuss their situation.
And if it's a service that you don't offer, if they, for example, contacted you, do you kind of do referrals or ask them to go back to their GP? Because I just want to make sure that our listeners who they have the full information, so that they know what steps they take in order to make sure that they check their health and so on. So if it's a service that is not offered, do they usually refer them to other services? Do they give them knowledge or information, or educate them on where they can go to get that service?
So if it's a service that is not offered by our clinic or by myself, so yes, they are guided properly. They're given sufficient information. Yeah. They're guided properly. Like, let me just give you an example. Like, I do sometimes get calls for any neuro physiotherapy, right? So obviously, then a guidance is given to them that not any physio. You need a physiotherapist that specializes in neuro would be best for you to go to. Yeah. So then, the next question is, do you know anybody? Now, if we do know anybody, we do give the contact details. But if we do not know, then unfortunately, Google is the best way to find out.
Yeah, or going back to the GP as well, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Because that was quite similar for me as well when I came to yourself, and we've done a few physio sessions, and then you referred me for an ultrasound. Yeah. So you kind of had that, sometimes they do have contacts in order to be clear. Yes. So just to reassure the dear listeners is that help is there, is available, and if the services is not offered by somebody, if they have information, they'll be able to educate you in where you can get the service. Otherwise, you have that going back to the GP to ask them as well. But I think the first step is to actually make sure that we act upon it as well, to make sure that we help ourselves. Yeah. And I was wondering as well here, in terms of moms who've had, for example, several children, and their health, they're not suffering from anything. Would you still recommend for them to have at least a checkup, just to make sure that they are okay and to prevent from anything happening later?
It is actually, again, ideal to get yourself checked, even if she's not having any symptoms. The reason why I'm saying is, just because you're not having a symptom doesn't mean that it's not there. It's not non-existing. Okay. Now, I'm not scaring anybody here. I'm just trying to highlight the fact that, especially in the mom's case, because this is what I tell all moms, that if mom is healthy, the whole household is healthy.
Absolutely.
So if it's ideal that if you can take out some time for yourself and get yourself from head to toe checked, okay, and then and if there is any problem coming up, and then treating it then and there, it's going to save a lot of time of yours, a lot of money of yours.
Yes.
It is in your best interest.
Yes.
Again, here I'm not scaring anybody, but it's just a fact that I wanted to highlight.
Absolutely. And you made a really good point, because like, subhanAllah, with the mom, it makes a huge difference. Even when they're not present in the house, it's like something is missing, something is not normal. So I always tend to say that because a lot of females, they kind of prioritize everyone else. I'm not saying males don't, but it tends to be quite a lot in females, where they prioritize everyone else, their children and everyone else in the family but themselves. So in here, we say that when it comes to health, please do prioritize yourself first, because when you are unwell, then you're not able to look after everyone else. So even if you find it difficult to do it for yourself, do it for those around you. Taking care of the health is a priority to make sure, and it's something that Allah will question us about, our health. How did we look after it? So it's an obligation upon us to take care of ourselves, to take care of our health. And as Aisha said, it's not to scare people out there, but just to kind of make sure that you're okay, to prevent anything from happening. You're in a better position to take care of those around you as well. What are your thoughts on that, Aisha? Do you agree?
I agree completely, because it's in a mom's nature, okay, and it's not just related to particular ethnicity or particular race or whatever. It's in a mom's nature to put everyone else before her own self, and that is in her nature. You cannot argue with that. But in doing so, do not neglect your own health at the same time. And this especially goes out to moms who are actually in some sort of a pain or some suffering any sort, that you have to, don't just ignore it and go through all the day, and maybe look into it deeper. Maybe there's something else going on.
Yes. Absolutely. And I'm just going to remind our dear listeners that we have Aisha with us on the show today, who is a passionate mom of two and a physiotherapist by profession. She runs an MSK and Women's Health Pelvic Floor Clinic in Luton, and she has 8 years of experience, mashallah, in her field as an MSK physiotherapist, in which 5 of them were in Dubai. Dear listeners, it is a very interesting topic, so please feel free to send your questions, where Aisha can give advice or comment on them on 0779 481822. So, Aisha, coming to talk a little bit more about you in terms of how do you, being a physiotherapist by profession, how do you take care of your own physical health as well, so that it can send a message out there to others that we can do these things on, for example, daily basis, weekly basis, in order for us to take care of our health. For instance, certain exercise, I don't know, maybe some people say water intake, exercise, movement. So what would you recommend, or what do you do as Aisha in terms of taking care of your physical health?
So, it is very important, especially for me being a physio and being in this profession, that I have to keep myself fit.
Yes.
And I do try to, be active and at least, have those certain steps per day.
Yeah.
If not, then some exercises per day. We've got very talented and very up and running Sister Hasina running Pink Diamond. She is really, a big motivator, and, get yourself up and running. Yeah. So I do attend her fitness class as well,
Yeah.
and keeping myself fit.
Yes.
You know, as the saying goes, if you want the world to heed, put the creed in your deed. So if you're yourself, you're not fit and healthy, then whatever you're saying is not going to work, because it's showing the opposite.
Yes.
So it is very important, especially for the women and for the moms, again, to have some sort of a physical activity, be it just a leisure walk, you know, with your spouse or with your kids, and leisure walk of 15 or 20 minutes. Just keep yourself, you know, active.
Yeah.
Is the key, you know, is the key. Because if you cannot find yourself time now for your fitness,
Yeah.
for your physical activity, definitely sometime any illnesses can come and they can, you know, find time for you.
Yes, absolutely. I like the way you said it there. Absolutely. And by the way, we mentioned Hasina's classes, and mashallah, she says that you're very good as well, mashallah. In terms of what if we don't make time for our physical, I know you said that illnesses will make time for us. What happens in our bodies if we don't exercise?
If you are not exercising, or if you're not keeping yourself fit, or having some sort of a sedentary lifestyle, so your muscles, basically your body, okay, it works on an overload principle. So your muscles, they tend to become lazy.
Yeah.
Your core muscles, they tend to become very lazy. You start accumulating those calories, excessive calories, as fats. Okay. And then obviously when the weight gain is there is a lot of pressure on the joints, a lot of pressure, not just the knees, but back. You'll have back aches because you know, you're not keeping yourself mobile. You know, you are not keeping yourself flexible enough for that, you know, for that renewal of nutrients in the joints to happen. Especially in this cold country, where it's very important that you keep yourself mobile, you keep yourself physically fit, so that, you know, you don't end up with general body aches, general joint aches. A lot of health issues come up. It's not just this, you know. So it's very important. Can't emphasize enough on this. You have to, you know, take out time for yourself. It's your body's haq on you. You have to.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if I can put it this way, you have no other choice.
I love that. So when oh the gosh, subhanAllah, there was a question in my mind now, was gone from my mind. Okay, so commenting on what you've mentioned here in terms of movement is very important. Is it the same thing, as you said, specifically for moms? Does the exercise or the how regularly it is differ from being single, being a mom, being pregnant? What would you recommend for the different types?
Okay, so because see, now the main point here is, as you're aging, your basal metabolic rate is also decreasing.
Yes.
Okay. So your energy level when you were young was different, and when you are, you know, let's suppose when you are married, it's different.
Yes.
And then when you become a mom, is different. So you have to exercise to the point that it challenges your heart, but at the same time, it doesn't, you know, go more than a certain limit. Like, it races the heart, but then again, it's not too much for you.
Yeah. So listen to your body, basically.
Basically, that's the main crux of everything. Listen to your body.
Yeah. Yeah. So to get the exercise, because when you mentioned that as well, it reminded me of some young people who are super scared of putting on weights. they over exercise. So a balance is always good. So not to go too extreme and not to neglect it completely.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Too much excess. See, excess of everything, as my mom always used to say, excess of everything is bad.
Yes.
So you have to balance it out. You don't get scared of, putting on that weight or whatever. See, when you exercise, you actually build more muscles. Okay. And then what happens is when you're eating, your muscle is burning those calories for you without you not working out. So you have to balance it with well enough exercise, well enough balanced diet, and well enough balanced rest.
Absolutely. Like the rest, there's something I need to say to myself. Okay, that's excellent. In less than a minute, Aisha, what would you advise others who are listening to us to start from today to start looking after their physical health for both if they're having any difficulties or to even prevent from any challenges happening? We talked about the exercise and nutrition. Is that something that we can start from today? We don't have to wait until tomorrow. And what can we do from today?
Definitely, you can start from now. Start, if you haven't been exercising, you can start 10 minutes a day. Okay, start with just 10 minutes brisk walk a day. Okay, and then each week when it becomes easier for you, add 5 minutes to that. Okay, and then once you feel even more energetic, then you can probably start more drastic cardio workout. Again, listen to your body.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's something that you can start from now. You should be starting from now if you're not. And also, obviously, cut down on your carbs. Most of our fats is coming from carbs, not just from the fats itself. So just portion out your food, whatever food you have, portion it out, and have lots of salad with it, lots of water. And and also one more important thing I want to add here is
in 5 seconds.
Okay, if you do have any sort of a problem, okay, do not just ignore. You seek out help first, even if it is for a day.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Why not tune in to our live stream at inspirefm.org and follow and subscribe to our social media platforms at InspireFM Luton.